Pod in the City is a Sex in the City podcast and thus contains adult themes and explicit content. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Pod in the City. I'm Amanda.
And I'm John.
We're two besties who bonded over Sex in the City in college.
And now, 20 years later, we're reliving it like it's our very first time. And just like that, season 2, episode 3, chapter 3. As though they couldn't make that more confusing. Carrie struggles with an audio recording for her new book. Seema's burkin bag is stolen. Charlotte and Lisa are on a MILF list. Lisa? You know, you don't see her name just... Anyway. Yeah. Miranda considers a tattoo and flies back to New York to comfort Brady after his breakup with Louisa.
All right. Sorry, I interrupted, but I stopped caring halfway through that. That description was almost as long as this episode was.
I will say, haters gonna hate, but I found myself enjoying this. Weirdly.
Okay, fine. I enjoy every episode. You're the hater, but
last episode pissed me off. This one clipped along, and it also had at least. Oh, you thought it didn't?
I want to send you a screenshot of my notes, and this I'm not trying to be performative in my notes. It was genuine. There, I was like, all right, what when they're at the jewelry show, I wrote last scene, and then that was over, and then I was like, and then I wrote in the notes, oh wait, that wasn't the last scene. There's still one.
No.
And yeah. 4 more scenes after that, and I was like, oh my God.
You know what, I'm reassessing based on what you're saying. Last week, I was the one who took the notes for the episode, and it felt like it took 3 hours.
I take notes, though. I always take notes.
No, but,
Do you take, like, better notes when you're leading?
I don't. I only take tiny little notes when I'm not leading.
So tiny.
Like one's like, I wrote one line here that Lisette said that she's like, where in the fuck were you clowns? That made me go insane.
Yeah, it was rough.
Where in the fuck were you clowns? Lisette would say that. Anyway.
At the
end, guys.
Let me say this. I wasn't done with my thought, Joan. Yes. At the end, when Carrie was like reading her book thing in the last scene, I wrote, because there's like a long, all of her recording scenes, like went to a different dimension, and then came back and it was still going on.
I checked out of those. Yeah, agreed.
So that happened, and she finishes reading, and then there's like this long pause, and I wrote, and just like that, because obviously that's what's going to happen. No, then it cuts to something else. Now she's at dinner with Seema.
Yeah.
No.
Though.
I do kind of like the way they wrap it
maybe up. I was in a better mood today, but I laughed at the end. I laughed at the end just like that part.
No, I think that's structural. Yeah. I already wrote the episode description for this, like to put on Patreon. And I note in there that each storyline is actually like good on its own.
Yes.
They just put it, and it just goes on and on. But each individual storyline, I'm actually really interested to hear what your opinion is on a couple of them, on what side you're taking.
In a way, I was happy that it had so much going on, because then it seemed less boring than others.
Really? Because I checked the timestamp quite a few times.
Oh, I kind of liked what was going on. Weirdly, I even was okay with Chay's bullshit. Chay
now, I do know that, like at the end when Miranda's like sitting in her apartment or in her house in Brooklyn, and like the door opens and Brady comes in, I thought that was going to be the scene that's coming up that I promise you're going to love.
Okay, don't even tell me.
Okay. It involves Steve. That's all I need to tell you. You're gonna like it. It's not like it's sexy. Well, it is sexy.
Okay, guys, before we just jump in here, Amanda and I have just been sitting here shooting this shit. That's probably why it's like now we're just like...
We're excited about Halloween.
Guys, I know these episodes, like people listen to these episodes all the time. That's what's cool. We keep getting comments and messages back on episodes that were like 2 months ago, or like from season 1 of Sex in the City, which is, I think, what's a really cool thing about our podcast is that it can kind of, I mean, we do some updates, but we,
Yeah.
you could listen to these anytime. So,
Right.
but I do want to say, I am trying to workshop a word for housekeeping, and I was thinking something like what we're doing, or
You've been workshopping that?
first I Googled other.
How did you land on that?
I couldn't.
Okay, you Googled what?
House mason or house tending or something. I'm like, what are we gonna say? House tending? Anyway, what I do want to say, guys, before we get too far in, I want you to check out last week's episode because it was pretty good. And just like that, check out all of our stuff. I also want you to check out our weekly roundups, because even if you don't like Sex in the City, well, obviously, like Sex in the City.
I think it's a totally different crowd, honestly. I really think it's because it's totally different people in the comments here than they are over there.
Well, I'm hoping that's what I'm hoping here. I'm hoping that some of you guys who only listen to this will find it in your heart to listen to our weekly roundup. Or what would be even better is if you check us out Wednesdays live on YouTube
it's fun. It's a fun group.
4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. What I would love to is, like, I want to get a little more, dialogue in there. Also, if you're listening to this on October, whenever, next week on the 30th, we're going to be debuting our.
You don't even know what's coming.
And I was thinking for a second that we were going to be able to say on here, but we're not technically. So I can't wait.
I'm excited for us to actually be able to say it.
We'll see.
By the way, I thought of something. I don't know if it's as good as what we're doing, but I did think of something.
Oh, yeah.
Keeping up appearances.
What do you mean?
Like,
for the housekeeping
change it from housekeeping. Yeah. Changing housekeeping to keeping up appearances.
Yeah.
You like that? You hate it.
Not really, because in my mind, keeping up appearances means like you're pretending to be someone else. Because there was this show, Keeping Up Appearances.
I know, it's British. Yeah.
My grandpa, we would watch it. I love that show. It's hilarious.
Ran a lot in Canada.
But it was like the premise of that was that she was trying to be like.
Okay. No, we'll stick with what we're doing.
Well, that was going to be the costume. Was Keeping Up Appearance. Now I'm confused.
I think
Anyways.
It's fine. Let's go.
Stop.
Let's do this. This is
okay.
a long episode.
Well, okay. Couple things I do want to say though. Check out our Patreon, please. We got a brand new Patreon member, and I love you. Thank you so much, Dollface. This week over there, we're doing Golden Girls Season 1, Episode 11, Stan's Return. And even if you don't like Golden Girls, we kind of just shoot the shit for 40 minutes and then talk about Golden Girls the last 20. So check her out, patreon.com/podinthecity. Guys, try it out. Even if you cancel after 1 month, look at it as a way of digging a little deeper. I don't know. Just go over there and join. I'd love you to. Also, one thing I thought I'd mention, since I haven't really talked about it enough over here, and I bet you there's at least one person listening who would be interested in this. I have a TikTok. Okay, guys? It's called Open That Doll. Check it out. I actually did an unboxing video, and Amanda dragged me on the comment section.
What did I say?
You were like, this video is a hot mess express, and that's exactly why I'm here. And
it was a hot mess express. It's good. Well, speaking of hot mess express, should we get into this episode?
Yeah, baby.
Okay.
As I said, I kind of liked, I liked this. But, okay, one thing I do want to preface with is this episode was a lot about Carrie's grief. And so I think that was also why it kind of touched me in a certain way. Because, grief never ends. My dad passed away 4.5 years ago. It's weird. You go through phases with it too, where like, I'm really now in the part where I'm like, I just wish he was still alive. I had some anger at the beginning, you know? And so it's never ends. So I liked that. And I
The
really
scene with
liked
Bitsy Von
Bitsy.
Muffling, I thought was really good.
I was just gonna say that. I loved that. I was like, more of this. Also, more of the MILF list.
I think she's in the next like a couple more episodes.
The MILF list? I loved that.
Oh, I thought it was really
the MILF
teetering
list
the line there on like.
Oh, well, it definitely was crossing the line, and then I started to wonder, how old is this student now that they're lusting?
I don't know, but that student fucks.
Oh, he had a thick ass and thick thighs.
We're just gonna assume
he was legal. 18.
Yeah, of course.
He was a senior, and they thirsted after him, and he was the writer of the MILF list. Anyway, let's keep it push on that.
Let's do this, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess. Carrie runs into her neighbor. What's her name again?
Lisette.
I
hate this character.
She's wearing as little as possible as usual, yet with like the world's biggest oversized jacket. And this would be such a sensory issue for me in that she has this big jacket on and it's zipped up to like about her boobs, but it's completely all the way just off of one shoulder. Would that not bother you? Oh, that would bother me so much.
I've never been... No, I just would never wear that. But I like the idea of wearing that.
Okay.
What I didn't like is they did voiceovers. They did these horrible VO parts where they inserted Bulgari.
Like, what?
The jewelry.
What?
In the show, they did terrible voiceover moments when Carrie's like, I'm going to see Lisette's Bulgari show. And she just said jewelry. And in this scene, that's when they introduce it. And they say a terrible VO of adding in the word Bulgari.
Okay, so gotcha. Anyway.
I'm all over the place.
Lisette has a jewelry show coming up, and she apparently is one of Vogue's 3 top designers to watch.
Guys, wait till you see the jewelry.
It's
literally shells. Like shells, like with other shells hanging off of them, and I'm like, oh my God.
Like you'd find her jewelry just at like any stands in Herald Square.
Like I was gonna say, it would be something you would see someone selling like on a table, as you walk down the street in New York City. Like what? It's like this looks like every Etsy store out there, but sure. Carrie is going to attend it's Friday night. Carrie goes, "Oh, I'm on my way. Embarrassingly, they asked me to record the audio version of my new book." Okay, so it's like, what the fuck did you expect? Because this is pretty standard with every book out there. Agreed, but I kind of was having empathy for Carrie because I do get it. It would be really hard, especially once she gets into reading what she's... I know, and she tries to get out of it, kind of. She was more adamant about not talking about a dry pussy last episode than she is about doing this. She's like more pointed in saying, I'm not going to do this ad about a dry vagina. And then she is around this. She like dances around it. She's like, well, I kind of, And then the girl from that gay movie, isn't it?
What?
Her, what's that girl? What's her job? Her editor? Is it her editor?
What about her?
That she's in this episode. And Carrie keeps going to her.
Amanda. Her name is Amanda.
Okay, Amanda. Carrie keeps going to Amanda, but she isn't adamant enough about being like, I'm not doing this. That was that's where this conversation
What was the gay movie that you referenced somewhere in there?
Okay, there's a movie called Another Gay Movie or Not Another Gay Movie or something. It's this like parody movie. The last time that this girl, Amanda, was in And Just Like That, I think I talked about it because I had literally just watched that movie. Like I watched it back when it came out. I was like in high school or whatever. But she plays this big, huge lesbian to the point where she runs out with like a strap-on dildo at like one point.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna fuck. And like, so seeing
Pretty
her,
funny.
like my memory of her from that to then this, where she's like this editor.
Yeah,
so that was the gay movie.
I think
Guys,
a lot of
check it
people
out.
said when this came out is that Carrie should have gone the Britney Spears route and had like someone else just read that chapter for her.
Okay. Yeah.
But
I
either
just
way,
think I think
Carrie,
you just kind of do it at this point.
I think you just
you wrote it
up and do it.
You wrote it.
Or you know what? I think she could just be like, I don't want to, I'm not going to do it. You're going to have to hire someone, hire a sound alike to do the whole book. It's too uncomfortable for me to talk about my husband who just died.
She is allegedly worth, again, as we remember, $50 million.
Do they say that?
No, that's what I read on some article saying that that was her net worth was $50 million. And I would believe it because she goes out later and buys 15 pairs of shoes that probably cost $1,000 to $5,000 each.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so anyway, she's gonna do this book. Bye. Seema now has her burkin stolen, and I
liked this. I mean, I didn't like the stealing, but
and I feel like we both know what the answer is, unfortunately. But do you think that the writers were referencing Samantha here, or do you think that this was totally like not on purpose?
Okay. Sorry to you, but you do have a tendency to like to like connect things or think they're referencing something. I don't think they're referencing that. I think it's that Birkins are like the status symbol bag.
That's how the only reason I know what a Birkin is, and I promise you that applies to a lot of people that watch Sex and the City.
I don't agree. Agree.
So when you think Birkin, you don't immediately just think of that episode of Sex and the City with Lucy Liu.
No.
Wow.
I do think of that episode, but I don't immediately because like it's in like songs. It's in like everything. Like Beyonce references Birkins. Like
I don't listen to Beyonce.
Okay, so there's the problem.
She might be going to jail.
Therein lies your problem.
Okay, well,
check out Renaissance Henny. In fact, she says that she puts her Birkins in Birkins. She puts them in storage. She's all about Telfar bags in the Renaissance album. So.
Oh my God. Okay, well,
get educated. This is when I'm gonna get a comment of someone being like, "I don't like the way that he talks down to Amanda," because that was what Littaby said.
Okay. Well, I thought it would be. I assumed they were referencing Samantha, but like not on purpose. But I don't know.
I think it's just that Birkin bags, like I on my TikTok, I constantly get this this shop that sells Hermes bag, like resells Hermes bags. It'll be a woman and her daughter will come in. But then
don't you think it's kind of cheap then that they have two major storylines surrounding a Birkin between these two shows?
Well, I'm not going to look at And Just Like That and Sex and the City as like Shakespeare. Fair. Also, Fair. And Just Like That, I would say the fact that they used like I'm proud of them because they could have made this work.
Because at least it's still something like, that I was like, oh, okay. All right. Well, now Seema calls Carrie. She's taking a cab around the city, and she says it was her first big splurge when she moved to New York. All right. Mm-hmm. I would never buy anything that expensive. That would be, and I would if I bought something that expensive, it would never leave the house.
It's dumb.
If I'm gonna splurge on something, I'd buy like a car, and I wouldn't even buy like a nice car. I would just get like a new car.
If I was gonna spend $30,000, which is what isn't it? We find out later that the bag is worth like $28,000. Is that what it was on that website? When Seema's in bed looking later. Mm-hmm. If I had $28,000, I wouldn't spend it on that. I would do something else. I would go on a trip. Yeah. I would do like stuff like that.
Sure. Anyway, but that's fine. That's her first big splurge. At Charlotte's school, we find out there is a MILF list. The principal is Tim Bagley, who we all recognize. He's been on every show in the world. He's on like Ellen.
Is he related to Ed Bagley Jr.?
No. Well, maybe. He could be.
Probably.
But I did look up just kind of, but he's like the doctor in Knocked Up, and This Is 40. He's what I guess my head goes to immediately is that he's like part of the gay couple on Will and Grace. And
yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. We all know what he is. Everyone knows who he is.
I liked this storyline because it gave me like old school sitcom vibes in a way. It was like funny enough. It gave them a moment of just levity instead of everything being about, that Andre Rashad left Naya.
I don't think does he even get mentioned in this episode? Well, anyway.
No, but we do see Naya for like, what, a split second?
She's in a couple of these scenes. I think Carrie is
now. I can't even remember what she
Anthony
did
at one point, like randomly. Wait, is she? No, wait, Seema's with Anthony, which is also weird. But Carrie's recording her book, and oh my god, I can feel how annoyed these two like sound guys are already because she's just very like, oops, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I tripped over that. Oh, I'm so guys, I'm so sorry, I tripped over that. Right, it's just awful. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. And they're like, oh my god. Anyway,
then she finally is like, could I just skip from
she's trying to re-edit everything, and she's like, can I just change it?
And they're like, no, actually, like you have to read it exactly as it is, which
she's like, it's pretty clunky. That was, I guess, kind of funny. But then Amanda comes in. Maybe her name isn't Amanda. Now I'm kind of rethinking that, but I feel like when I watch this, I feel like that would be me. Like I would be cast as that character because that's how I see myself. So in my head, her name is Amanda.
I think her name actually is Amanda.
Okay.
Because when you said that, I was like, actually, that makes kind of sense.
Right. Well, anyway, I hope her name is Amanda. Anyway, they have to do like a mic adjustment. There's a joke that goes nowhere here where the mic guy comes in and is like fucking with Carrie's
and they never resolve that. Later,
but he has BO.
Later, I even was thinking they were gonna like give him deodorant or like. I guess that's something you're not.
I'm sure that would be a huge
address.
HR like nightmare.
I think though it should be something you should be allowed to address.
Yeah, I don't know.
Except actually that some people do have medically. Like they have BO for medical purposes, and then you're getting into HIPAA things.
Or you can have halitosis if you have a an ulcer. God. I know that from you know who Big Ed is?
Ew.
But
no, I don't want to think about him having halitosis.
But you know who he is.
Yes.
The girl that he was dating, Rose from Philippines. She was so funny. But he brought her to this hotel room. And he's like, I have a present for you. And he like brings out mouthwash and toothpaste and a toothbrush. And he's like, this is just for you because when I hugged you at the airport, your breath just isn't very pretty. So this will help you. And she's like, I have an ulcer, and that's why I have bad breath. It's like just horrible.
Good girl. Good girl. Good thing.
She like leaves him. She fucking leaves his ass. It's so funny.
Yeah.
But that's what this whole, this never gets wrapped up. They never touch back on this smelly guy. So that's fine. And then Carrie the whole time is like, we're going to, I thought it was going to be done in 2 days. And it's like, Carrie, do you have somewhere else to fucking be?
Also, like, have you ever listened to a book on tape? They're like 14 hours long.
Yeah, and also, isn't this your job? This is your actual job.
Hey, Carrie, you wrote the fucking book, lady. Yeah. Like, have you forgotten?
And don't you want it to be good? It seems like she's like really put out that they want this to be good. She's like, can't we just do it in 2 days? It's like, this is your book.
I'm sorry, I'm swallowing my teeth or whatever the fuck she says.
She's swallowing her teas and she's popping her peas. Popping her peas.
I can't even imagine going in and having someone tell me what the fuck's wrong with my voice while I'm trying to do a voiceover.
Oh, that would fuck with my head so much if they pointed that out, like, oh, you're popping your piece. I'd be nervous every time
I wouldn't be able to read anymore. I would be like, well, gotta go. Bye.
When you get to that word, then you're immediately, every time you get to it, you're like, am I supposed to do it How am I supposed to say
Exactly.
it?
No, I'd fuck it up hardcore.
Well, anyway, Kara, the guy is BO. Carrie's upset because she thought she's. Chapter 3 is the chapter about Big's death, which is also like it happens pretty early on in the book.
Well, though I think the book is called Love and Loss, so I guess then the rest is supposed to be about her loss, but that kind of doesn't make any sense because.
Well, then the book
Yeah,
should
you're
open
right. This
with
isn't
him
making
dying,
sense.
like this series did. Anyway,
I still don't know why they did that, but
the scene is unending though. Like I really do remember, like kind of losing.
I don't even
like,
care anymore about this scene, honestly.
Oh my god! Like then I think there was a good scene at some point, and then it goes back to Carrie recording, and I'm like, no, I was like enjoying that, but Miranda. Okay, so we're at Miranda and Chay. Now these are at least funny scenes to me now because they're like. The energy it's such a different, it's a totally different show when you go over to LA.
It is.
The whole vibe is different.
Weird.
I love
though
it.
their storyline
So
this episode annoyed me. It was annoying.
Who was annoying?
I thought Chay was annoying, actually.
Oh, I was on Chay's side 100.
What?
Yes.
Later?
Yeah. I would be. Well, we'll get to it.
I understand the phone ringing and all of that, but like
okay,
then when
well,
she's
I guess
like,
we'll talk about that. The phone ringing.
We should wait because we're all over the place.
Okay, yeah, no, we'll get to it when you get to it. Okay, Carrie's out. Miranda and Chay are running lines, and I mean, running lines is always awful.
The thing is, like, Chay is supposed to cry, right?
Have you ever had to cry? And also, Miranda's so fucking stupid. Again, this was a partner at a law firm, and she like doesn't know how to read a script. She's like, oh, sorry. Whoops. Coughing. Oh, wait. Oh, no, I'm not supposed to do that, actually. So the script is really rough, by the way. But Chay's like, I don't want to cry because that's not me. This is supposed to be about me.
But the line following is literally, you don't have to cry, my little cannoli. So you're not going to cry. And then the line following you're not crying is, you don't have to cry, girl.
Yeah, they're like, very put upon. Also, like, you thank your lucky stars. Someone is like bankrolling this fucking pilot, which you have no right to even have. But she's like, they want me to have blue hair and wear a zoot suit. Now they want me to cry. This is supposed to be about me. And Miranda now.
I believe that based on the title of Chay's pilot alone, it's not getting picked up. The title, guys, it's Chay Pasa.
Oh, that hurts my stomach. That's really bad. Oh, that's really bad.
Chay Pasa? Like, it's supposed to be a playoff of K Pasa, right? But like, Chay Pasa?
I think. And it doesn't really make sense, right? Because didn't they make her not Hispanic? Oh no, they made her not Irish.
No, she's still Hispanic, but she's
Italian and not Irish.
Italian.
That was another huge change huge shift she had to make.
Which it doesn't really make any sense, but I will still say that the director or producer, B or D or G or whatever the hell its name is,
it was like DB,
terrible actor in this.
Really rough. Really rough.
So bad. Like beyond terrible. I can't even fathom it. When they're watching Chay's
I think that the team thinks that Michael Pat, they think that it's funny. I think that they think it's funny.
They do not. When
I
they're
think
like
the writers and everything. Yeah, but I think Michael Patrick King is like yucking it up at that. He's like, do more of that, bigger.
See, I thought for a second this episode might have been like directed by someone else because I thought there were a few moments that I was like okay with.
Right.
Well,
Miranda, there's a storyline with Miranda having an android. It's like, I have an android now after all, and I just can't figure it out. Oh, I shouldn't have let that man at the cell phone store. Also, like, why would anyone even try to talk you into getting an android? Because you can't, can you transfer your files over? Just makes so much more sense to get.
I have no idea.
If she went into a cell phone store and she already has an Apple, why would the person be like, you should get an Android now?
The last time I had an Android was like a Motorola Razr flip phone.
The guy I'm seeing has an Android, which is so exactly on brand. I know. I
The
hate
guy you're seeing. Ooh. I've never heard you address him as the guy.
It's at the point now where I like don't really know. Like it sounds weird. What do I say?
Yeah, I agree.
It's been like 2 months now.
Yeah, Chay and Miranda, the two of them.
They're on a
Fine.
ticking clock right now, I feel.
Well, they basically almost seemed like they were going to break up at the end of this episode.
Yeah, I don't remember if they do or not, but
I don't think they do because they have that little moment that they like.
I guess. If I were Chay, I would be forever icked out by Miranda's cell phone going off. It would ick me out
that, yes,
so
the
hard.
phone going off, but I also, though, don't think that Chay was empathetic to the fact that, like, that is your child, and you should.
I was on
care
Chase.
about
I
your
wrote
child.
like, okay, it's a breakup, and he's gonna have to get over it. Also, there's nothing you can fucking do right now. And Brady's a big fucking pussy. God.
Oh my God, I would never be like that. I would be like, fuck you. My child comes first over your stupid
He's like
ass.
21
always.
years old.
Don't care. They're still always always your child.
My parents would have been like, well, I don't know what you want me to do about
That's pretty clear. That seems pretty clear in your reaction, in your feeling. I
think both
literally
my
parents, my parents would never.
A bunch of times in my life.
My parents have always been like, if you're not happy, do something
my parents
else.
Have never
my
said
parents
that.
are always. Oh my God, that's probably also why I'm
my
like,
parents are like, you need to suck it up and they figure it out. I guess.
Oh my God, no, my parents are the opposite.
Okay, well, how did our personalities somehow still line up, though?
We did fight sometimes when we were younger.
We
went through periods where I think like we were like,
we're just silently mad at me, and I just had no idea. It seems
I was never mad. What would I be?
I was never mad at you either, so we never fought.
I can't remember. It was just
I never fought with anyone except for
I
Brad.
think it was like a group of like 8, 9 people, sometimes 10, and it would. So then there would be like smaller factions, and then people would like. At sometimes you'd be closer to one other person than and then it'd be like, oh well, I guess now I'm in this thing with them, and now I guess we'll be talking.
Yeah, it was pretty dramatic. Oh God,
beyond. It was the Facebook top 8 in
MySpace.
MySpace.
It was the.
You're right. It was the MySpace top 8 in real life. It was awful. So.
And oh my God. Where were we? Wait, why did we start talking about that though? Oh, about how we each would react to this fucking Brady being
yes, that happens like at the very end of the episode. Sorry to jump all over here.
Okay. So that's it, right? Brady's ghosting Miranda right now. Miranda's a little foreshadowing.
Is Brady ghosting Miranda, or it's that Miranda's phone isn't working? It's like Miranda can't get her new phone to work because it's an Android.
Either. Okay, if someone handed me
Miranda lost her fucking phone at the. Agreed. Miranda lost her damn phone at the beach though. Like
she's an idiot.
They've decided that Miranda is like a moron, a dipshit who's
Miranda needs like when it's winter, she needs to have like those gloves with like the string that attaches all the way because she like loses. She's such an idiot.
Yeah.
Like her phone should be like tethered to her at all times.
It should.
Like on
how the hell are you losing your phone?
Yeah, and you can't figure out an Android. All of the icons look the exact same. Oh, phone, text.
Well, it didn't make sense because later she walks out of like a T-Mobile store, and I'm like,
was she getting another phone?
No, it was for them to help her with her Android, and I'm like,
still didn't work.
So are we advertising T-Mobile, or are we saying that T-Mobile sucks? I'm confused. What's happening?
Well, that's it for that storyline for now. Naya does have a storyline. It's that guy has a crush on the boom mic guy.
This actually made me excited because it showed me for the first time that LTW does something.
Okay, yeah.
Like, I knew
Other than
Naya was a
his
professor
Charlotte
and
friend.
everything, but like, this is the first time we see LTW like working. I was like, oh, okay, like, wow, I like, she's more than just a mother who has children who are bilingual and speak French and go to private school. Like,
Yeah.
that was all that her storyline so
Yeah,
far
I actually
really
really
had
like when
been.
the two of them are together.
Me too. I liked
It's
what was happening here. I was like, okay.
I would actually love to just see the three of them go out like with Seema. Like all the
Ooh,
leave all the
yeah.
white girls out of there. Like just like
Well,
have
all the
clean
like
people.
fresh people, like leave them. LTW also, this episode just made me like her more. I think she's a great actress too.
Yeah, she's the
And
most beautiful woman in the world.
again, the MILF list, loved that. I mean, I
Okay.
don't like that concept in real
Naya's into
life,
the
but
sound guy.
he was hot.
Oh,
He
I
was
didn't
hot.
look. LTW
Oh,
was like,
girl.
I'll give him your number. Fine, they wrap that
Yeah.
up quickly. And now Carrie's out with Charlotte, and Carrie's complaining about her audiobook. I don't know. I'm gonna make even more money once this comes out. And Charlotte's like, well, we're just so proud of you for moving on. So now actually hearing the ending with her moment with Lizette, which I did like. Now I kind of see why, because I was like, why is this conversation even happening? But now I kind of see they're putting into place that like all her friends are like, oh, you've moved on. That's great. Like Carrie feels like there's a time limit on grief.
Yeah,
So
I liked
understand
that too. And that is a common thing. Like, some people might have a tendency to be like, oh, great, you're over it. Cool, moving. Like,
I'll
goods.
still cry if I talk about Rose dying, my cat.
Oh, I
Tattoo
don't
for
even
her.
get me started on the animals. I
Yeah,
literally cried the
forget
other
it.
night about like, yeah. Anyway,
No, I don't let myself stare at Walter too long because then my brain just starts going. I'm like, nope,
no,
nope.
yeah, that's what I
We're
talked to
living
the
forever,
therapist
and that's
about.
that.
I don't catastrophize things. We're good.
No, I've been really good lately about not just don't let it go. Just don't.
Yeah.
It's not happening right now in this moment. Carrie's out with Charlotte. LTW and Naya arrive late, and LTW gets the MILF list. Her and Charlotte are numbers 2 and 3. What would it be like to be so beautiful that you just know you're not worried about if you're going to be on the MILF list, just kind of what your placement's going to be. It wouldn't even
That's what I
cross
was
my
thinking.
mind I'd
Like,
be on that list.
Like, oh, which one am I gonna be? Oh, I'm 2 or 3. Oh, okay.
I would
Like,
be
what?
shocked if I made it onto this list. They're number 2 and 3, and then the sound guy texts Naya. Smash cut back to Carrie recording her audiobook. And I was like into it. I'm like, ooh, they're at lunch with the girls, and we got the MILF list, and Naya's getting the sexy text, and now Carrie's like, as I listened to the shower water trickle against the ground, I thought to myself, oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm swallowing my teas again. This scene goes on for another 20 minutes, and there was kind of a cool sound design and lighting choice here. Like there was a choice made at least. Where
yeah, they did a whole thing where she's like
hear,
in a different place, and like she's
the light, the camera kind of like swirls around her, and you can hear the shower hitting the tile.
Well,
so that it was a choice made at least.
They are doing an okay job of establishing these different ways of grief manifesting for her. Like through this sound thing. And like I remember, I think you saying something about them thinking or like possibly having a storyline where she's like forgetful.
Oh yeah, people were
like
thinking that she's getting like Alzheimer's.
See, I'm looking at this a little differently than that, where it's like she's having those things as a result of her grief. Because you saw touches of that in this, where I was like, oh, she's starting to have some
going
kind of
like foggy.
Yeah, but I think it's because she's, dealing with that. Which
honestly, I don't even think any of those moments were pre-planned. I think these are just random things people like are manifesting into those. It was just like badly written moments. Okay, smash cut. Okay, so fine, we're done with that. So now So now I was like, thank God. Like Carrie's walking outside, and there's a knock like inside the salon, and Bitsy Von Muffling is there, and I wrote, "Oh yes, I remember this scene. This is a good scene," and. I was realizing, like, as I'm watching Bitsy, I feel like Bitsy is so kind of that person that, like, a person that's kind of around and you kind of take them for granted and they're not like a top tier friend to you. But then like in this scene, it's like Bitsy's probably super cool. She's the least toxic person of all the people Carrie knows. And it's kind of like, oh, I should just be I could have been hanging out with this the whole time. Like she's so funny and delightful and like they were like kind of crazy about her.
God, I would love to make a friendship, like have Bitsy as my bestie. And we go to Bergdorf's, we go to the Hamptons, we have lunches, like we go to the, get masks. Not masks,
they were
but,
kind, like, they were kind of judgmental about her on the show. Like every time like they saw her on the show, they're like, here's Bitsy again.
I know, but she had one of the more poignant, like
for sure.
She's a good actress though, and she has good delivery, and her voice is something you want to listen to.
And you know what? I think it's just recently clicking for me, the whole storyline with Bobby and Bitsy, because I almost feel like my brain couldn't wrap around in the show. Like when I was watching Sex and the City, I think my brain was forcing me to think that Bitsy genuinely didn't know that he was gay or that he was trying to pretend like he wasn't gay. But now as a more woke person, and I see that sexuality is much more fluid, it's that no, she did completely know. And he is gay, but it was just like we're best friends and I do love you.
And I think that was what the show was trying to portray too at the beginning was that, or like with that was like, oh my God, she's with this flaming homo.
For sure. But yeah, in this, it's like, more like they have there was a love there.
A partnership and a friendship and a love, like.
And they did have sex. Like he was probably like a little bit straight. I mean, he was able to have sex with her. It's still sex.
It was played by Nathan Lane, honey. No, I could never have sex with a woman.
You would never be able to tell the difference. Well, you probably could between the two holes.
There is no way. Okay, I would not be able to keep an erection.
You definitely tell the difference
with a woman.
But it would still feel good. It's like a wet
I don't think hole. It would. Because it's more than just the wet hole. If it's just a wet hole, I'll go fuck a pie or something. Or
okay, but then with that logic, like, I'm not going to enjoy, like, well, I don't like anyone going down on me. But, like, if it was a girl fucking with a dildo, I mean, I guess. It's the same thing, right?
No.
I mean, it probably isn't.
I would rather get fucked by a girl with a... Oh, God, no. Keep going. Keep going. This is for the whole. This is for the public.
I shocked my system and got the air caught in my throat. Okay. Bitsy, let's get back to this because it's a levity. This is a good moment, John. Take it seriously. Bitsy goes into like. This moment. Carrie has this moment where she's like, I just feel like, how did you get over it so quickly? And then Bitsy says, Carrie's like, I can't believe I'm still so upset. It's like in the second year now. And Bitsy goes, well, that's the dirty little secret no one tells you. The second year is worse. And she's like, it's always going to hurt, but new life will grow around it, around the grief.
She says basically this like idea where in the second year, it's much harder because you realize that life just keeps moving on. And you have these moments where you wish that person could be there. And you notice that, oh, this person directly isn't there, in all these moments, but, they just keep happening. She basically then uses this analogy saying that you pull something out of a hole, you pull something out of the ground and you leave a hole in the ground, but things will start to grow around the hole and it makes that still there, but those other things make it easier and more beautiful and stuff.
This was super beautiful and poignant and very well performed by Bitsy Von Muffling. So I love her.
I teared up.
What?
I teared up.
I did too. That's the one I was like finally able to focus. And she goes, well, do something that makes you happy. For me, it's a facelift. And for you, it's probably something else, but do whatever makes you happy. And then it's a cut to Carrie buying shoes. But then I forgot the one other really important part in that scene is that Carrie says, how do you do it? And Bitsy, like just the idea of like, Bitsy isn't just okay. She is putting it on. Carrie's like, you're always so upbeat and you're always, which I feel like it must be difficult for people that are perceived to be upbeat. That's gotta be, because for me, whether I'm in a good mood or bad mood, I always just pretty much seem pretty like mid.
Yeah.
But like, if you're a person that is known for being really upbeat, that's gotta suck when you are depressed, because then it's like so obvious, and then everyone's super concerned. I don't
Pushing
know.
even harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
So that was great. Now,
But it smash cuts not just to Carrie buying shoes, but to Carrie walking into her apartment, like loaded up with like 50 bags full of shoes. Which...
Yeah, she sits down and tries to read out loud the chapter. She can't. And then now we're like almost a whole third of the way into the episode, and now we're setting up Carrie's storyline. And so she calls the Gary Schneider and she says she has COVID, which great. Again, how dated is this story? It's like COVID is such a like, oh.
It is dated, but it also,
cute
I'm surprised like at that moment they even went there. Because
honestly, when this was written, it was still too late to be using COVID.
But
we'd already been past COVID.
You could still use that as an excuse though, easily, babe.
Oh, for sure.
It's a good one. I've never done it.
And I do like the way this is utilized throughout the storyline. It's, I guess, funny.
It makes sense.
It does. It is funny the way it keeps coming back, and it does.
And you know that it's gonna. You kind of know that that's where it's going. That like, you know, people aren't just going to leave you alone. Like you tell everyone you have COVID and you think your friends aren't going to try and bring you soup. They're not going to try and do some kind of shit. Or
nobody gave a fuck when I had COVID. My mom didn't come over. She's like, oh, I don't want Ron to get COVID, Amanda.
Well, I mean, like people called me and like offered to like
really? When did you have COVID? I had it really late, so nobody cared anymore.
I had it in October of like last year.
Oh, and people brought you soup?
They offered.
Oh my God.
I said no. Because no, leave me alone. I have DoorDash. I could DoorDash myself. No, when I got it last year, I actually was like genuinely sick. I was like in bed.
I wasn't so sick. I was just very exhausted. And it was like I had like such good sleeps.
Oh.
Like deep sleeps. Great.
Well, Carrie is lying to everyone that she has COVID so that she can get out of doing her book recording.
Yeah.
And she thinks that somehow is going to like have them cancel it.
It snowballs into just, I can actually use that as an excuse for everything, which, this is a cute little storyline. So Miranda, now we're back with Miranda. She's out walking around because, again, she's got fuck all else to do. And she can barely function. It's almost like they're like dropping off their kid at like the mall. Like Chay has to be like, okay, Miranda, you just wander around here and like I'll meet you back at 3 p.m. Okay. So Miranda's kind of out wandering the streets and she walks by a tattoo.
But that's kind of the issue of her being out there in the first place, don't you think?
What, that she has nothing else to do?
Why is she there? She's being used as Chay's like prop then anyway.
Also, she didn't need to be there because she should have just let Chay focus on her shit and then
by the end of this episode, it is very apparent that Chay, Chay's entire world hinges on Miranda being there. Literally.
I mean, I guess, but Chay doesn't really seem to like Miranda that much. Well, she goes in and she's like talking to this tattoo guy. She's like, I want something that's just going to be me. She's like, I just don't ever want to go back to that old person I was. And it's like, oh, you mean the old Miranda who was like fierce and a major like cultural icon?
Not an idiot.
Yeah, smart. Like,
she's like, I don't want to be one of those corporate robots. And he's like, you know what? I have some robot tattoos that we could see, like the Jetsons made and the Lost in Space robot.
And then Miranda, like, his name is Ricky. Miranda's now like on a first name basis with Ricky. And she's like, I'm thinking about it. So she calls Carrie and Carrie goes, it's time for you to come back to New York. And
she said something at the end of this that drove me crazy. She's like, "What? Oh, can I get a tattoo or whatever? I'm thinking a robot." And Carrie's like, "Just as long as you don't get it on your neck." Yeah. And Miranda's like, "What do you think? I'm not joining a gang while I'm out here."
Oh God,
baby, Ricky, your new bestie, had a full fucking neck and head tattoo.
Also, Miranda was in school to become a social justice lawyer.
Yeah, like, are you kidding?
God. So Carrie
Hilarious.
Carrie lies and tells Miranda she has COVID, and now Miranda immediately calls Charlotte, and Charlotte calls Carrie and wants to take care of her. And because again, keep people because COVID used to actually be a big deal. Although you got it way too late.
It still is a big deal.
Give a fuck about you.
It
Anthony's
still
now
is
out.
somewhat of a big deal.
Anthony, you what? What did you name?
I think it is still a big deal for a lot of people.
Totally. Anthony's out with Seema, and for some reason, have these two met ever?
Well, they're supposed to. Carrie's supposed to be meeting with them.
Oh,
she?
Right. Okay. I'd be so
Which
irritated
made it more
if
sense. Made more sense.
I like barely know this person. Like we are only connected through Carrie, and Carrie's like,
these two seem like they would get along really well. So
yeah, actually, Carrie brings the mood down wherever she goes. So
exactly,
they're having a pretty good combo. And Carrie forgot about it. And she's eating a burger and fries. Yeah, right. And
that pissed me off,
yeah,
especially because the burger that she had looked just like they tried to make it look so greasy and like drowned in cheese and just like dripping in grease. So she takes a bite. You never see her swallow. She spit that out. You know she did. Just saying.
And this was a funny line. I laughed out loud at this. Seema Seema hangs up the phone and she's like, Carrie can't come. She has COVID. And Anthony goes, now she gets COVID? That's very off trend for her.
That was funny.
Favorite line of Sex in the City of
that
Anthony.
Was it?
What?
That was your favorite line?
No. My favorite line of Sex in the City is Anthony's line. Oh, imagine being blind and not being able to see a beautiful day like this. Can you imagine anything worse? Stonewashed jeans with a matching jacket.
Yeah.
I've said that 100 times, but I'll say it again. At school.
Please do.
We're at school and we find out all the moms are buzzing, all the MILFs are buzzing, and they've heard through the grapevine that Milo H is the one that wrote the list. And they're like, yeah, oh, that's so crazy. And then they're like, oh, I heard that he's like really attractive.
They're like, he's the Charlotte. No, what they were doing was they were first saying like, oh, he's so like nerdy. Oh my God, he has a total lisp and he was disgusting growing up. Like,
that's what it was. And Charlotte's like, this is a little boy we're talking about. And then it's like, boom, boom, boom,
and it's like slow motion, wind machine. This guy like walks out and it's like,
it's like 27 years old.
And the girls are like,
they're like,
I'll be a MILF for him. Which I
was
kind of like, what is going on?
Did you watch did you watch any of our episode with us yesterday? Did you?
I saw the part when I first talked, and then when I clocked in at 2.5 hours, and you said you were 15 minutes into the episode, and I felt bad for you.
Well, in the episode, Christine was out with David on their like first date, but it's obviously like a reenactment.
Oh,
the whole time she's doing this.
Oh, she is like horny.
Yeah, and it's so she's like biting her lip for anyone who's just listening, but everyone knows that it's.
I don't think lip biting is like, especially for any prolonged period of time. It's not cute. It diminishes the size of your lips. It does not
I don't really
make
know what
them.
It's supposed to be. I guess like whatever. I don't want to get into.
Well, if you did the one thing like a quick lip bite, I would think it means like I want to eat you like up, like I'm hungry for you.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of just that instant moment of horniness where you're like catching the breath in your mouth. That's how
I just like to be like meow, meow.
Okay, you say that to guys?
No. I'm like purr, daddy, purr. No, I would never tell you anything I say to guys. I'm like definitely not in this vibe. That's for sure.
Maybe I'm pilled.
This is my sexy vibe.
Milo H comes out, and again, this kid fucks.
I don't want to go too far into it.
God, I hope this actor is 18. Anyway,
I'm pretty sure the actor's 18, but never once in the episode do they imply that he's a senior. I think. Do they mention he's a senior? That's the only way this would be like.
Yeah, like
kind of okay.
Also, what time of year is this? But there was a meeting, and so now there's a meeting, with the principal, and he's like, we figured out who it was, ladies, and the guy's gonna go on suspension. And they're like, no, Charlotte and LCW are like, don't do that, don't punish him. And then the principal's like, we just received word that a group of MILFs were out caught sexualizing one of our students. And they're like, what?
Well, before that, though, the other women are sitting like a few seats away from LTW and Charlotte, and LTW and Charlotte are both sticking up for Colt. Is that what his name is?
Milo H.
Oh, Milo. Why did I think Colt? Milo H. And the other women are like, that's because you're 2 and 3. And then Charlotte and LTW sit down, and then the guy's like, we've just gotten word that a group of mothers were objectifying a student in the hallway. And then Charlotte and LTW and were like, they were? Because they did the whole thing being like, they're like, that's because you're 2 and 3. And they were like, we are.
I get it.
It was like a Lucy. They're trying to do like a Lucy and Ethel thing with these two.
Yeah, no, I got
Laverne
it.
and Shirley.
Charlotte's, her face is just so like cartoony to me that like
it's just too puffy.
Yeah, I can't take.
So I can't wait for season 3.
Yeah, she looks stunning. So now we go to Miranda. Oh god, so she's in line for this taping of this pile.
Mm-hmm. Love her outfit.
Love her.
She has probably the best
great
looks with the hair, with the like the outfits are always like going so well with the hair. It's like she's always got a look. She's the best dressed in Angels Like that. Honestly.
And she gets a call from Brady, who's in like Germany, and he's crying
Amsterdam. He's crying on the street. He's tried to call
really
her. She's
going
like
for it too. He's like slobbery about it.
He was really into it.
Pretty good, yeah. Like he got.
I thought he was doing a pretty good job.
He Meisner approached this
until later when he does.
I actually was impressed with that. He was really crying. He must have been like standing behind the set, just like really working up some.
They
let
that go on way too long. I was like, cut this, because he's like. Like, geez, how many times do I need to listen to that? Anyway,
like, I would be as Miranda. I'd be like, I failed as a mother. This is my son.
Because he's
what?
Girl, you'd have a hard time being my mom, honey. Because I cry and I'm a mess. This is me. That's I think why I watched this and I'm like.
I cry.
I'm Brady in this situation.
Life, I think, but I never cried. I never think about my parents for
support. Oh my god, no! My mom's like my number one person to call and be worked up and upset about shit with.
No, I pretty much live my entire life focused on giving the appearance to my parents that I am A-okay. That's pretty much how I just go about life. Is like making sure that no matter how much of a dumpster fire things are happening around
That's
me.
like a trauma response. I get it.
Okay. Right? I don't really have that much trauma though, other than growing up fat. But I mean,
there must be a reason though that you feel like you can't be honest with your parents.
Everything comes back to me growing up as a fat kid. I promise. That is what everything can be tracked back to that. I know it.
Well, I get that. I get that. I was literally having a meltdown this like last week about how. Yeah, anyway, maybe we'll talk about that on the Patreon. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/podinthecity.
Yeah. And then also join us next week for the weekly roundup because we're both going to look so cute. We're not going to feel fat at all.
At least Amanda's going to look cute. I'm worried for myself.
You could go either way, but it'll be hilarious. The joke will land either way. The bit. It's all for the bit.
Wouldn't that be nice if that was the end of the episode? We're just like, bye, guys.
I'm trying to see where I thought it was over. Quite a few scrolls. Oh my god.
Brady's upset. Not Amanda. Miranda's at the taping. They're gonna put their phones in these little bags, and there's a fun moment with the security guard. And Miranda's like, I just lost my phone at the beach, and the security guard's like, you didn't get a new one? She's like, I just happened. I couldn't do it. I didn't know, and they had a cute thing, and then. You knew what was going to happen, though. Miranda hides her phone in her panties, I guess. And then because they had a whole buildup that Chay couldn't cry. You just know that, like, the moment Chay gets crying, Miranda's phone goes off.
But who in this day and age even has their ringer on their phone?
I don't have my ringer on ever.
And if my ringer does go off, I'm like, what the fuck?
So
if it does, it means that I accidentally hit the side button.
Agreed. The only time mine goes off is the alarm.
Alarm, yeah. But like, I don't even know what if my phone were to ring, I could not even tell you what the sound is going to be.
Well,
what the ringer will sound like.
It's a good thing that you keep yours on silent, or else you'd get yelled at by BW or whatever DB.
Oh my god, yeah,
or whatever the hell. Because
also,
they're like, you've ruined the show, Miranda. Whoever you are, you have ruined the entire Chay pasa.
That is like that performance that John just did was an exact replica, including the actual dialogue, by the way.
I think that was their audition piece. I think that was the piece they had to audition with. And so that's why they were actually kind of like slightly better acting at that part.
Well,
than earlier when they're watching it.
But it's like, also, you know that you're sneaking your phone in. At that point, don't you check your phone 100 times to make sure that the ringer's off?
Also, it's okay. I'm pretty sure you record more than one take of a fucking
that was my
pilot.
Hey, this isn't live, so.
And I'm gonna tell you, Chay wasn't selling it. It's not like they acted like this was unreplicable.
One take wonder, yeah.
Like Chay would never be able, well, because there was a dig thrown in where DBW or whatever the hell their name is like, Chay can't do that because they're not an actor. They're a stand-up. And I was like,
referencing Jerry Seinfeld there, obviously. That's like just kind of a running joke in show business, in the biz. That was like a thing. But Jerry Seinfeld's like in on the joke. They talk about it in Seinfeld when they make a show for Jerry.
So you think that they're referencing?
Yes, of course they are.
Referencing Seinfeld. I don't.
I think that the world just exists as what goes on in my own little world. So all the references I know are connected, obviously. Yes, I do think that though. That is like a famous thing in the world.
I think that
comedy.
I totally agree on that. Like that trope, that transition, like of saying that transitioning from being a stand-up to being an actor. And I will say, like with SNL, there was a new cutie on SNL. I think his name was Emil, but he kind of bombed on Weekend Update. I thought.
He didn't do anything, did he?
He had a bit. He was like introducing himself. And I was like, who is this cutie? And then I kept watching it and I was like, oh, okay.
This Michael Keaton episode, I don't know. I hate this episode. Was so bad that I like barely was paying attention.
We'll talk about it on our weekly roundup. So
we will. Actually.
Great.
Where are we?
What's next? Okay, the thing, Miranda decides that she's gonna go home. Chay is like, you hate me, and then Miranda's like, you don't know what it's like to be a mother, which I get. I hate when people say that shit to me, but this is a case where I understand what it's like to be a child, and so like I do think I'll say from my own personal situation, maybe my mom had a previous partner who was not as good at understanding what it was like to be a mother, like that aspect. And it was like that way that you're kind of addressing it of being like, oh, get the fuck over it. Where like, if that's your child, usually you'd want to like,
it's not okay. But he's an adult.
I know, but his pussy left him. Remember last season, guys? How?
Yes. Oh, I remember
the whole season was about Brady fucking. So I get it.
Okay,
he's
but
sad. He's not going to get his balls drained every day like he needs. So I get it.
But here's when like in our 20s or whatever, like when both of us were in the age of getting a little psychotic with like our relationships and like being a little over emotional, were you calling Kathy and being like, this just happened? Like, I feel like you didn't. Whenever your heart was broken, were you actually telling her that? I just don't think that that's something that you would call your mom.
I think I did.
Okay.
Because my mom still holds grudges against people that wronged me back in the day.
Woo! Okay, well, I'm glad I'm not on that
she is a grudge holder in that way more than I am. So
okay. Okay, well, glad I passed the test. She seems to like me. She's fine with you.
Most of the time.
All right. That's Miranda finds Chay, and Chay is yelling and get over it.
Finally crying, which they never made him. I kept thinking there was going to be a moment made of Chay. So Chay is standing there with the assistant. The assistant's like, are you sure you don't want me to hold this umbrella? Like, it's really bright out here. And then Chay's like, no, I'm fine. And then they take it away, and Chay's instantly like covering their eyes and then crying, like wiping tears from their eyes. And they never referenced it. They never said, oh, you finally are crying. Or like, why didn't DWV come out and be like, you've got the tears. Finally, you've got the tears we need. Like something like that.
Well,
right?
Chay's also, they've stopped. I guess they're at a dead halt now in the studio because Chay is now like out. It's like, why would
Miranda ruined the show?
Yeah, well, they're on a huge halt, and Chay's like, you ruined the whole family scene. And Miranda's like, well, I had my own family scene, and it's real. And then Chay's like, you know what? Do whatever you want. And then Miranda's like, can we not say goodbye on a yucky note? Ew, if I didn't have the ick from your yucky, cell phone going off, you said yucky. That's a Robin Brown word. Gross. And then Chay goes, all right, I hope Brady's okay, which gotta say, that's more than I could have given Miranda at that moment.
This is why I think they didn't really break up. I think that, like...
You know what I'd say? I'd say, tell Brady he can have you. That's what I would say.
Well, I'd say it both ways, because... we're acting like Chay is like a prize
good person.
Yeah. Chay has been a horrible partner to Miranda too, so it's kind of like
agreed.
Just break up already. And obviously they do, because like Chay isn't in season 3.
Or they faked their own death.
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
So now I wrote the last scene of the jewelry tent party. Seema sees a cater waiter stealing jewelry. He tries to steal from them just in plain sight. Carrie yells, I have COVID! And then everyone freaks the fuck out. Okay.
And then he wants to steal Carrie's necklace, and she's like, no, never. This is most important thing to me. And then Seema pulls out like what you think is a gun. Funny. And then it's a lighter. I was like,
Carrie's like, you have a gun, and then these 2 security guards come up, and they're like,
this is when fucking Lisette goes, where in the fuck were you clowns? Where in the fuck
were those clowns? Because like
they were yelling security over and over. And also, I'm sorry, but this is a Bulgari jewelry show. Like, those are diamonds and shit, aren't they? I know Lisette's jewelry was like ugly shells with diamonds on it, but like they're still worth something, probably.
Yeah, I know. So like they got everything, apparently. Everything. The 2 seconds.
I guess.
So fine. Seema is in no, sorry. Yes, okay, fine. Miranda's back at home. Like I'm like, okay, here's the last scene. Miranda's back at home looking at her tattoo, which says MH. For Miranda Hobbs.
Oh, see, I think I must have literally
Did you not get that?
At this moment. I didn't even know. I didn't even see that she got the tattoo.
Oh yeah, she's like looking at it like.
Why am I remembering every other detail, but for some reason not?
And why I go back and actually look at what the tattoo was. But
MH.
What? MH. To forget, so she doesn't forget who she is. Although she's so senile at this point, it's probably good that she at least has some kind of form of identification on her person at all times.
You should have put your phone number, return to address.
Yeah.
Like,
whether or not
if
you're
lost,
like a
please return
donor.
To. Like, girl, I can't.
So Brady comes
in. See, we started this recap of me being like, I really actually like this episode. And now I'm like, ew.
Brady comes in freaking out. He's still crying. I'm like, wait, was it an 18-hour flight from Amsterdam? You're still at that level? God.
Because your girlfriend left you? Like, really?
He's not getting that
and you're
sweet
20
tea anymore. Well, Seema's now in a cab and she gets out to walk because it's too busy. And she stops to pet a Pomeranian. And as she's bent down, she finds her Birkin. I guess somebody mentioned earlier, oh, you know what? They probably tossed your Birkin because they just steal the money out of it and toss the Birkin. So she does find her Birkin.
I
So
don't
I like
think crooks are better than that nowadays. They would know what Birkins are. They would steal the Birkin before they care about what's in it.
But I like that the way she got the purse back was bending down to pet a little puppy.
Yeah, it was like, things. I mean, it was the most, like, there was no reasoning behind this in any way. It wasn't even to prove a point. It wasn't even to wrap up a story. It wasn't even to, like, prove Seema wrong.
She got her Birkin back, and she had a dog.
It wrapped up that, but, like, there was no, it wasn't like it was, like, oh, well, Seema was so negative. And then once she finally found the positivity, it was like, there was no, like,
there was no arc.
It was just like, oh, Seema, there's the traffic's backed up. Seema's gonna get out of her car and start walking, and then there's her bag. Okay,
well, fine, but at least she got it back, I guess. I'm surprised they even remembered
very
to
fake
wrap it up.
when she picked it up, though.
Back to Carrie. She's at Lisette's door. She's like, Lisette? And then no answer after 5 seconds, and Carrie key in the door, turning it.
This was weird. I was like, is Lisette dead?
Cops. So Lisette is depressed as she's laying in her bed. And
I hated
she's like,
this scene.
It's all gone. I have to start from scratch. And Carrie's like,
just go down to the beach and get a few shells, babe, and hot glue them.
But Carrie makes it about herself. She goes, I know how you feel. If you don't know, my husband passed away about 1.5 years ago. So Carrie lays next to her. This was nice, at least, though. She lays next to her. She goes, at some point, we'll have to get up, but not now. Now there's another scene. Cut to Carrie finishing her book reading. And then this is what I wrote. And just like that, oh my God, there's another scene. Carrie and Seema get hit on at some restaurant by some Australians or Aussies.
Guys who looked like they were 25.
Yeah.
Or so.
And then Carrie, and then this is how it ends. And just like that, I got COVID.
Which I kind of didn't hate that line in a weird way.
It was like, it makes sense. Walk to get.
Honestly, though, this one is more logical than the past couple episodes.
And it was at least tongue in cheek.
Let me go back and see. Last episode's was and just like that, I freed up my entire week.
Oh yeah, that was stupid. Let me tell you what's next week, Joan. Season 2, episode 4, Alive. Carrie gets an offer to write a column for seniors. Yes, this is the one with
hopefully it's not about dry vaginas.
Charlotte and Lisa. I don't like them calling her Lisa.
I hate that.
Celebrate
LTW, Lisa Todd Wexley.
Hey, celebrate the start of summer camp. And Miranda navigates life back in NYC. Thank God.
I wish we had a Halloween episode for next week.
Anyway, but we'll have our own Halloween episode on the weekly roundup at 4:00.
I'm going to be doing that from the road, y'all.
Yes, on the road.
It's going to be a shit show. I cannot
fucking wait. All right, guys.
Anyway, we love you guys. First of all, check out our Patreon, though, too, guys. Patreon.com/podinthecity. If you made it this far, come the fuck on. Check it out. We love you guys so much, and we hope that we'll see you next week. Bye. Bye.
Bye.